overall. So let me just tell you that in the last little bit here, and this started with a tweet from Tommy Cassell, who covers the Worcester Red Sox for Worcester Telegram. It says TG Sports. I presume that's the Worcester Telegram. And Tommy Cassell tweeted a little while ago. I'm trying to get the exact time on the tweet. Maybe Jimmy Stewart can help me with that. This was 5:13 p.m. Okay, so it was, a little less than an hour ago. Nick Sogard is being called up to join the Boston Red Sox in Sacramento, according to a source. Believe it has to do with the Curtis Mead injury being worse than initially thought. Sogard was originally scheduled to play second and hit second for the Woo Sox in Norfolk today. Instead, he is going out to the West Coast, and Alex Spear of the Boston Globe has reported with a headline, Red Sox to place newly acquired infielder Curtis Mead on the injured list. He will not play tonight, and he will not play for the, let's call it the foreseeable future, depending on how long he's on the injured list. We don't have specific details as to the nature of the injury based on the fact that Mead was hit on the left hand by a fastball thrown 95 miles an hour, I believe it was, in the fourth inning or the third inning last night, Jimmy Stewart.
Fourth inning, and Tommy Cassell just updated his tweet. It is Curtis Mead has a broken wrist.
Okay, so there you go.
He's done for the year.
Okay, fractured wrist for Curtis Mead. He is done for the year. After Jimmy Stewart, if we could find Chad Tracy's post game from last night, it might be in the system, but
Milliken's got it on Twitter. Stand by.
Okay, so the the bottom line is that Chad Tracy said after last night's game he thought the Red Sox had quote unquote dodged a bullet.
Sore. They did get X-rays, which are negative, which is good. He's sore. We're just going to take a day to day and see how he feels coming in, but a little sore. But at least right now it looks like we dodged a bullet, maybe.
Okay, so again, that was Tracy last night. As it turns out, the Red Sox didn't dodge a bullet. Curtis Mead placed on the injured list, and you said Cassell, Jimmy, has since reported, Tommy Cassell has reported that it is a broken wrist and he's done for the season.
Broken wrist, yes. I'm putting the stink on the broken wrist he's done for the season because the math doesn't math for him to come back before the season's over.
Okay, so now again, the only thing I'll say is we'll wait to see what the official diagnosis is, whether it's the back of the hand, whether it's if it's a wrist, I would venture to agree. I would tend to agree with you, Jimmy. So, but this is obviously big news. The Red Sox just traded Connolly early for this guy. He had one at bat. He struck out. The second one, he got hit by a pitch. And now it appears that the Red Sox will not have him for a significant amount of time. I would say for a broken wrist, you're looking at, that's more than 6 to 8 weeks. That's you're talking about a joint, and a complex one with a lot of pieces in there. That one to me is probably going to be something closer to 8 to 12. So, and that's a guess, but we'll try to give you details on that as we go forward.
Means they got to make another move, Tony.
Okay, so this is the question, Jimmy Stewart. Does this inspire the Red Sox to do what you just said, make another deal for another hitter after they made this deal and give up more prospects? Or does it, or do they let this just kind of hang now and do what else they were intending to do at this trade deadline if they were intending to do other things? So this is my question. What do you do now? And I guess I'm talking to the fans as much as I am the Red Sox, but what do you do now? 617-779-0985. I can tell you what I think the plan was for the Red Sox post Curtis Mead deal. And that was the existing plan up until this news was, I think, to go out and get more pitching. And I think Craig Breslow alluded to that in the press conference he did the other day. So, Jimmy Stewart, I'm sort of audibling on the fly here. But the Breslow comment that we pulled about what they're going to do for the balance of the deadline. We played this for you last night. I think Breslow made it pretty clear that after they added Curtis Mead, they were probably going to shift their focus to pitching. Now they're kind of back at square one if they want to help the lineup and help the pitching staff at the same time. In fact, I would say they're really not only just down Curtis Mead, they're also down Connolly early. So when Breslow was asked about other moves heading into the trading deadline, and this was on Sunday, I think during the broadcast in the game, what other things were possible. Here's the exchange.
Would offense still be the priority? Does this change that at all?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think anybody would sit here and say, no, we don't need any more offense or we don't want any more offense. But I think we have to be mindful of losing Connolly and losing those innings. We have to be mindful of the workload that we put on our bullpen. So I think we'll look across a pretty wide scope here and figure out if anything makes sense for us.
Okay, so there you go. That was Brezzo. I think he basically was telling you a couple of days ago, we're going to shift the focus towards the pitching staff now because we just lost Connolly early. We're probably not going to get Garrett Crochet back, and that's me interpreting some of the things with going on with Crochet, and so we need to fortify our pitching staff. Now, the good news is that the Red Sox have a group of starters that thus far this year have still been pretty good. Sonny Gray's been good. Ranger Suarez has been good. Jake Bennett has been good. Obviously, you've lost early, but Tolley has been good. Brian Bayo, if they can figure out the first inning thing, is not a horrible option as a fifth guy, if that's what you want to call him. And Patrick Sandoval is still in the mix. So, given those guys, if I were the Red Sox, I would veer away from a starting pitcher. Because obviously they've given up some assets to make this deal, but they still have, if you count Bayo, they still have 6 starters. The bullpen help, I think, is important. I think they have a hole before they get to Garrett Whitlock. So I would keep that on the list, and I'd go get another hitter. Now, who that is, we can debate, but there has been speculation that the Red Sox are in the market for a shortstop, even after making the Curtis Mead deal, that they are in the market for a shortstop. And that, in and of itself, frankly, that was going to be my focus on the show tonight, is think of the ramifications. If the Red Sox are truly in the market for another shortstop, think of the ramifications and impact on this clubhouse, on this organization, and on this roster, let alone the lineup. Meaning, if the Red Sox are in the market for a shortstop, Trevor Story's out. He's out. Story is recovering from abdominal surgery. But if the Red Sox are looking for a shortstop, they don't trust Trevor Story. And they don't trust Marcelo Meyer, who's also on the injured list. But nonetheless, wouldn't shock me if the Red Sox make a deal for a shortstop. It wouldn't surprise me if Marcelo Meyer's in the deal. Or, for that matter, Franklin Arias, depending on who the player is. So, lots of moving pieces suddenly over at Jersey Street. And certainly in the clubhouse in Sacramento, where the Red Sox are getting ready to play the Angels tonight. I will say, and I said this last night on the show, this is not a second guess. I was worried about the infield defense last night. They sent Sung Shae Cheng back to AAA, and they kept Anthony Siegler here, who was a second baseman. Monasterio played shortstop last night. The Red Sox do not have a backup shortstop. Monasterio made an error. Then Siegler botched a double play ball in the 9th inning. The Red Sox won the game anyway. So they won the game 4-2 on a grand slam by Ceddanne Rafaela that barely scraped over the left field wall. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but again, as I said at the beginning of the program, it feels like that kind of stretch for the Red Sox. Lots of things are going right. 23-4 in their last 27, but now Curtis Mead on the injured list with what sounds like a broken wrist that has ended his season after just one official at-bat following the trade that brought him to Boston from the Washington Nationals in exchange for Connolly early. One at-bat. He struck out looking in the first inning. He came up again 3 innings later and got hit by a pitch, came out of the game shortly thereafter and may not appear in another game this season. Let me just add, for those of you who do not know or isn't likely to appear in another game this season, and for those of you who don't know, Curtis Mead will be under Red Sox control here for a number of years going forward as long as they keep him. He is not eligible for free agency. I'll look this up, but it's 4 or 5 years. So he certainly could figure into their plans going forward. But for a guy who was picked up to be a deadline trade acquisition and help them in the 2026 season, it appears that has gone out the window. And so, again, let's see. His first year of arbitration is going to be after 2028. So 29, 30. I don't think he's eligible for free agency until after the 2031 season, if I'm getting this right. In any case, this is where we begin tonight. 617-779-0985. The Red Sox roster shuffling, what they're going to do with shortstop, how they're going to replace Curtis Mead, if they do it all, and what they do going into the deadline. All of that now front and center as the Red Sox get ready to take the field tonight in Sacramento.
The Baseball Hour with Tony Mazz.
Celebrate Italian heritage.
That was during the broadcast last night. It was the second inning. I took note of it. Talking about the roster and how the Red Sox have constructed it. Because I told you last night, I didn't love the fact that the Red Sox sent Sung-Shae Cheng back to AAA because I thought defensively he's their best shortstop. I don't think it's even close. I think that's true whether Story and Meyer are here or not. But in any case, a lot of moving parts now. And it's Sogard who's coming up to Boston to replace, again, Curtis Mead, out with what appears to be a broken wrist, according to reports out of Worcester, and will be lost apparently for the balance of the season. We don't have any real details on that yet. The Red Sox have not, formally stated that, but that is the report that came out of Worcester, is that Mead will be lost for the balance of the year, or that Mead has a broken wrist and presumably will be lost for the balance of the year after one at-bat in a Red Sox uniform. One official at-bat.
8 pitches, Tony. 8 pitches.
He struck out. He got up a second time. It was the second plate appearances, so I'm sort of fudging it there. But 8 pitches, Jimmy, as you said. On the first at-bat, he struck out looking, came up the second time, got hit by a pitch, which doesn't count as an official at-bat. But that was it. And apparently now a trade for naught. So you lost Connolly early and you got nothing for him. And, the good news is he wasn't on the active roster anyway. From that standpoint, the question now is what do the Red Sox do going forward? So I just ask that you all try to get to your points quickly so we can get as many of you on as possible. Frank's in Boston. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, I was calling a rant about the Mead trade, which I hate, but is less relevant now. But I'd still like to rant about it because they get what they deserve for being stupid, and it speaks how the organization behaves and why they've been no good for 8 years.
Yeah, so Frank, let me just interrupt you and say this is bad luck, okay? Whether we like the player or not like the player, the fact of the matter is they did make an acquisition, and, this is bad luck. So
I agree.
Okay,
it's
so
bad luck.
Okay, but all I'm saying is I'm just going to put you on hold. All I'm going to say, don't hang up. I'll bring you right back up. The injury does not make them stupid. That's all I'm getting at. Any insinuation that the injury makes them stupid is wrong. It's bad luck. Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, yes, I agree, although I can't believe the opponent hit him on the wrist because you have to be a moron to pitch that guy inside to begin with. But at any rate, you can overpay because you use early for Mead, who is cheap and has term, but you overpaid on a relative proven talent basis by a fair bit. Or you can overpay because you use a guy like Early for an established big league player who is a rental and costs more money. And the overpayment exists because of the player's age and cost in the short-term rental, but not the talent where you actually may have upgraded as opposed to downgraded, which is what you're supposed to do at the deadline to make yourself better for the now. What the Sox did was about being cheap and player control, but not the now. It's the dumbest and cheapest form of overpaying and just a glorified version of what they've been doing. Now, the other problem is... Okay,
so Frank, I'm going to let you go just because there are other people, so forgive me. I don't mean to be rude. I'm just telling you that there's a lot of people on the line, so I got to keep everybody to one point. Look, we debated the trade last night. I think they took a gamble. And again, Paul Tavoni, the president of baseball operations for the Nationals, said, and I quote, the Red Sox went out on a limb. Out on a limb. This is the guy who traded you, Curtis Mead. The Red Sox were able to go out on a limb. They took a gamble. But they weren't gambling on the fact that the guy would stay healthy. They were gambling on the fact that he'd continue to hit the way he hit. Now he's out. Done. So no Curtis Mead. If I'm the Red Sox, I am looking now at another bat and a reliever. If the goal was, and I don't know if they were going to make 3 moves anyway, but if the goal was to get, and I'm just going by what Craig Breslow said, they could use some bullpen help, they could use some starting rotation help. So if the goal was 3 players, and now you're down to 2 because you already made one of those deals, I would still go get another hitter, and I would get a reliever. Live with what you have in the rotation. Your starters have been good. Crochet is probably not coming back, and you probably weren't winning the World Series anyway. But your starters have been pretty good. So I would stick with that if I were the Red Sox. Connor in New York. Ed, Connor.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Tony. So between these guys immediately breaking down and our medical staff, quite honestly, looking like a joke, we need, I think, to make a big old buy. And who even floats there? I mean, do we go out for Xander? I think he's way past his prime. Or does Breslow have the cojones to put some kind of offer for De La Cruz? You saw him have a great game today. Just want to know what your thoughts are.
Okay, so look, I love the idea of a big deal, and if that means someone like Ellie De La Cruz, or who's going to complain about that? So, but it is the kind of deal I would be looking at if I were them. Now, the question comes in is how many deals do they want to make? How many prospects do they want to give up? And at the end of the day, for a team that, is playing exceptionally well right now, at least in terms of won losses. I didn't think the game last night was particularly well played. Peyton Tolley pitched pretty well, but the defense wasn't great, and they didn't hit all that much. But they just beat a bad baseball team. So how far do you want to go? How much are you willing to invest in this team? And to me, that's really the debate now. You just made a trade, and you lost the guy. It's a bad break. It's bad luck. So now, how much are you going to push it? And I don't mind the Red Sox trading for guys who are more or as much long-term as short-term. I don't think trading for rentals is smart for them because this team is on the younger side and it took a long time to get here. So I would absolutely want someone with term on the contract that you could play next year and beyond. Steve in Fall River. Steve, you got to be quick tonight.
This isn't the Oakland A's trading Vita Blue in 1971. Connie Early is just a question. It's just a bigger question mark than Curtis Mead. He does not have that much behind him. He was number 3 of your young lefties. Bennett's number 1, by the way. Tolley's 2. Early was clearly 3.
Okay.
I don't want any more moves. I don't want any more overpaying. Story comes back. He'll give you bats. He was your best, most important position player last year, and they've got to hope that he's back, Anthony's back, and I'm putting a little hope in this Tanner Houck to help in the bullpen. He's supposed to be ready in September, Tony. That's it. I'm going to hold my horns, and that's it.
Okay, so look, I told you I would still make a deal for a hitter because I think they need the hitter either way. I would hedge my bets on Curtis Mead, long term. So what? Think of it in these terms. Are you going to show up for spring training next year and say Curtis Mead's your number 5 hitter or number 2 hitter, which is where he hit last night? I'm not comfortable doing that. I'm not sold enough on the guy's ability. So go get a guy you can put in the middle of the lineup with Anthony and Contreras or something closer to it. And then if Mead ends up that he can hit and he hits 6th or 7th and Abreu hits 6th or 7th, well, now you're talking. Marty in Springfield. Go ahead, Marty.
Hello, Tony. Yes, very unfortunate to hear about Curtis Mead. What I would do is I would focus on the outfield right now. We still have needs out there. Unless you can get some of the guys on the injured list, like Story or Meyer, if you can ship them off for infield help, that'd be nice. But I would not start giving up more starting pitchers. I think that's a bad idea right now. Okay, so Marty, I'll tell you, you just hit on a name that to me would be the key toward making another deal, and that's Marcelo Meyer. If you can move Marcelo Meyer and get something that you can keep under team control for a little bit of time, even if it's just one more year beyond this year, that's fine. But ideally, I would like a couple. So go get trade. You had there've been plenty of opportunities to trade Meyer. It certainly feels like they're down on him. He was the number 4 pick in the draft. He could still be a pretty good piece for another organization. There's a reason to take a chance on a guy like Meyer, given where he was drafted, and when you watch him, given his natural ability. The question is whether or not he matures. I don't think they have a use for Marcelo Meyer anymore. When you look at it, they have Franklin Arias, who's now at AAA already. He's a shortstop. And if they're on the market looking for a shortstop right now, well, then they don't believe in Meyer anyway. So if I were them, I would try to move Marcelo Meyer and see if you can get yourself another hitter.
Find another right-handed bat. And again, this relates to the conversation that we just played between Mike Monaco and Lou Merloni. There's a lot of suggestion coming out of, both Sacramento and nationally in terms of baseball coverage that the Red Sox are in the market for a shortstop. If that is true, and this goes to Stephen Fall River too, they don't believe in Trevor Story. And I wouldn't either, by the way. I'm done with Story, who's under contract, I think, for one more year, Jimmy Stewart. It's just one more with Trevor Story.
We can only hope, but I expect him to get DFA'd once he's healthy.
Okay, so, they may have to bite the bullet on Trevor Story here eventually. I don't know what kind of shape he's going to be in if he can play this year anyway.
Probably terrible.
So there's also, another reason that the Red Sox are in the dilemma they're in for a right-handed bat. And this just popped into my head a little while ago. We'll tell you what that was or what that is. When we come back, Kevin Majori's got your headlines again just before we go. Well, Kevin will get you caught up. But Curtis Mead on the injured list. It appears to be a broken wrist or a bone in his wrist and will be out for presumably the balance of the season, though we do not have official word on that yet from the Red Sox. What do you got, Jimmy?
Tony, we also might have a name that the Red Sox are in conversations with to fill an infield position. Maybe we'll tell you that on the other side.
Okay, sounds great. There you go. Majori's got your headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
The Red Sox, they continue a 4-game set in Sacramento with the Athletics tonight. As we were just talking about, they did get dealt some bad news today, as according to Tommy Cassell, who covers the Woo Sox, and being backed up now by Chris Cotillo, saying that further imaging was done on Curtis Mead, who was recently acquired by a trade on Saturday for Connolly Early. He's headed to the IL with a broken wrist. Nick Sogard is being called up in his place. First pitch tonight is at 9:40 for the Sox. The New England Patriots, they held their fourth practice of training camp today on the practice field behind Gillette Stadium. Of note, two cornerbacks got banged up a little bit as Carlton Davis and Charles Woods both left the field with apparent injuries. Quarterback Drake May is reportedly still not on the same page with new wide receiver A.J. Brown, as May is just 3 for 10 on targets to Brown through the first 4 days of camp. Cornerback Christian Gonzalez spoke today, and he said he wants to keep contract talks private after Robert Kraft publicly disclosed the team's offer to make him the highest paid cornerback in NFL history. And other cornerback signing news, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Cleveland Browns and Denzel Ward reached agreement on a 2-year, $62.2 million deal that includes $52.3 million guaranteed and makes him the highest paid defensive back in NFL history for the second time in his career. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by DN Van Lines. Take the chance out of your move and make the sure bet with DN Van Lines, an approved mover of the Department of Defense, dnvanlines.com. I'm Kevin Majori on Boston's Home for Sports 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update, 30 minutes.
Stay tuned for more.
Last night, grand slam by Ceddanne Rafaela. I do want to touch on this quickly. In the batting order last night, if you notice, of late, Rafaela had been hitting second and was doing a good job for the Red Sox. He had a nice opposite field hit over the weekend. I think it was the game on Sunday in which he knocked in a run. That was the game in which the Red Sox bunted 3 times, and one of those bunts set up Rafaela for an opposite field hit that scored a run, 2 outs, man in scoring position. He brought him home. So last night, did you catch this, Jimmy Stewart? They hit Curtis Mead second, and they dropped Rafaela to the 5th spot.
I was angry because they put Contreras 3rd and Abreu 4th, and I thought that was dumb since Contreras has been great at 4.
Okay, and they moved Rafaela to 5. The explanation from Tracy was that when he was in the 2-hole, they couldn't run him as much as he's able to, because they didn't want to take the opportunities away from the 3 and 4 hitters and have him thrown out or whatever. I bet you he's not telling the complete truth. So I looked this up today on Curtis Mead, who, again, if you're just joining us, going on the injured list, what appears to be a broken bone in his hand or wrist. We'll get confirmation from the Red Sox, probably not till we're off the air. It'll happen. I think Tracy is supposed to speak around 7:30 our time. So Joe Murray will be on by then. He can give you the details. But when I looked up Curtis Mead today and what I would call high leverage situations, according to Baseball Reference, he's hitting 189 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. He's hitting 233. Late and close, he's hitting 191. Rafaela is way better in all those situations. So if I'm going to have men on base for the number 5 guy coming up, I'd rather it be Rafaela than Curtis Mead. That's just my 2 cents. Now, the question is going forward, what do the Red Sox do? And Buster Olney, Jimmy Stewart, you said that there is a new piece of information or a new shortstop's name to toss around. Buster Olney tweeted out what regarding the Red Sox interest in shortstop?
That Otto Lopez of the Miami Marlins could be a target for the Red Sox. Quote, he'd be a great player for them, said one rival executive with knowledge of Boston's interest. He was an all-star this year. This is a good player.
Okay, and Otto Lopez, if I'm not mistaken, I think leads the National League in hitting.
He does at 328, I think.
I think he's over 330 now, Jim.
Oh.
So, in any case, Lopez is having a fabulous year. He is young. He's eligible for arbitration for the first time after this season. I'm going to have to look up defensive metrics on him. My guess is that he's good.
I feel like his range is in the high percentile of the league, like an 80 or 90 percentile.
Okay, so that makes sense because he's on the smaller side, so he's probably quick. And again, I'm pretty sure he hits from the right side. So, and he's a pretty good hitter, not just in terms of the batting average. I think he's got, 9 home runs this year. Looks like he's got, probably doesn't walk as much as he should. He's not a strikeout machine per se, 62 strikeouts in 103 games. So that's low. That's low. Puts the bat on the ball. So that I like seeing. A guy like that would interest me. I mean, to me, that would make sense. You lose some of the power in Curtis Mead, but, you can play a different way. And again, the real story there is if they trade for a guy like Lopez, what they are saying about shortstop for the future. They will then have, under contract for next year, Trevor Story, Marcelo Meyer, Otto Lopez, and who am I leaving out, Jimmy Stewart? Oh, Franklin Arias, who might not be ready at the start of the year, but is now at AAA and not that far off. That gives you some good trade collateral to make a deal. And maybe Marcelo Meyer is the guy who goes to Florida.
And if you didn't like the fact that Mead was designated for assignment, Otto Lopez was designated for assignment twice.
Okay, so he's another one whose offensive game has just jumped a level, about 5 levels in 2026. Up until this year, he had never hit like this. So just keep an eye on it. Eric's in Reading. Eric, go ahead. You got to be quick.
We'll hate that trade too.
Mazz, this is a horrid disaster. Wrist injuries are always screw with the guy's power and strength. Case in point, Roman, Marcelo, Casas, and Nomar from El Reyes from 99. Thanks.
Okay, so look, again, those should always concern you. Anytime a guy takes a fastball on the wrist, it's worrisome. And, the wrist is one of the most complicated areas. Might be the worst injury you could really give a guy who swings a bat. As Eric and Redding pointed out, Nomar Garciaparra was never the same player after that wrist injury. David Ortiz had a wrist problem at one point that really messed with him. I'm trying to think of other guys. I'm sure there are a million of other people who've had wrist injuries that have been problems. So certainly something to worry about. Ethan is in Worcester. Ethan, what do you got?
Hey, yeah. So would you trade Roman Anthony if it meant landing like a frontline starter in a middle of the order bat, and trust Arias to come up as your long-term shortstop, or would you rather just, try to make a deal for Zach Nato or somebody like that?
Okay, so I am reluctant to trade Anthony unless I can get an absolute bona fide legitimate stud. So, for example, if Bobby Witt is on the market and I have to give up Roman Anthony to get Bobby Witt, I would do it. No, you're going to have to give up more in that deal because Bobby Witt's one of probably the 5 best players in baseball. Maybe top 3 or 2 or 1. I mean, you could certainly argue he could be the best player in the game. So there are, you get into, well, I take that back because of Ohtani. You're talking about Ohtani, Judge, and then Bobby Witt. I mean, something like that. So, but it would have to be that kind of player, and it would have to be a young player. In other words, I'm not sure. I mean, I suppose you would trade him for Aaron Judge, so let's not be stupid about it. But, there aren't many guys that you're just going to give Anthony away for. And I don't know that I would do it for a pitcher. It feels like they got their pitching program in pretty good shape right now. And I do like Jake Bennett. I like Tolley. You've got Crochet. So long term, I mean, if I'm giving up Anthony, I want something for the long term. Sally is in Wilmington. Sally, go ahead.
Hey, Tony, I know you said earlier.
Oh, it's Salty. I'm sorry. It's Salty, not Sally. Go ahead, Salty.
No, hey, that's all right. Close enough. I knew where you were going with. Anyways, I know you said they were lucky with, which I think you have to be to go on a streak like this. Is this Mead injury, is this kind of the door to their, the hot streak running out? Did they get too hot too soon? I mean, there's a lot of season left. Did they, burn the candle a little too quickly?
Yeah, so now we're going to get the peaking too soon, Jimmy Stewart. Is that what we're going to get?
Surprised you didn't hit that card last week.
No, it crossed my mind at one point, Jimmy.
I mean, when they won 13 in a row, I was kind of expecting
no, it did. It crossed my mind.
The Red Sox peaked too soon, yes.
So look, here's what I would say to the caller. I'll entertain the question.
Great.
They had to make deals in this week no matter what because the trading deadline's coming up. So they were inspired to make the deal by their hot streak, but do I, blame them for peaking so early that they had to make a deal now? No, I don't. They caught a bad break. I can't remember the last time a guy broke his hand for Boston when he was hit by a pitch. Can you? Fingers, I get. Like a wrist. I can't remember one, Jimmy, recently. I mean, I can remember him. I remember the Nomar thing. And, I'm not telling you it's, unprecedented. It's hardly unprecedented. But I can't remember. It's been a while. And to get hit up there and have and lots of guys get hit and survive it just fine. So I will say, though, that with where Curtis Mead stands, and he's not like right on the plate like Contreras sometimes is, but he's a little closer to home plate than he is not. And I think he does sort of challenge pitchers to throw fastballs in there. He's probably going to get hit a fair amount. He probably should protect that wrist and hand area. There are guards that guys can wear in there that give you at least a little bit of protection in there. In any case, that is neither here nor there because the deed is done. So Curtis Mead out for an extended period, presumably with a broken wrist. We don't have an official report on that yet, Jimmy, right?
We do not. It's all Chris Cotillo and Tommy Castles. They're all speculating and reporting on it.
So are they speculating or are they saying that team sources have confirmed?
Team sources speculate, yeah.
Okay. So, again, we'll get a better idea on that. But it's a major blow for the Red Sox given the deal they just made. And that's without passing judgment on the trade. This guy might have been able to give them something, might not have been able to give them something. A lot of question with this player, a lot of gray area, has had an unusual career path. And I think I've said the last couple of nights that he has played for 4 organizations. He's actually been part of 5. He was originally signed by the Phillies, went from there to Tampa Bay, went from Tampa Bay to the White Sox to the Nationals, and now the Nationals to the Red Sox. And 3 of those moves, the last 3, have all taken place in the last year. So, Curtis Mead has done a lot of bouncing around. The numbers look good this year on paper, but he does feel like a paper player, if we're being honest with the profile. So the question now going forward, given where the Red Sox are, and they are in possession of a playoff spot, 23-4 in their last 27 games. And right now, let me punch up the standings again, but I think they have a little bit of a cushion in this wild card race. The wild card standings are the Yankees, the Red Sox, then the Guardians, and the Red Sox are 4 games ahead in the loss column of the Minnesota Twins. So for a team that obviously for a long period of time was, near the bottom of the league in terms of winning percentage, the Red Sox now have themselves a little bit of a cushion here. It's 3 games ahead of the Twins in the standings, but it's 4 in the loss column. The Red Sox are in pretty good shape. I mean, they've played 2 fewer games than Minnesota has. So, they could up that to 4 games easily. But now in a bit of a predicament. And so I would submit to all of you out there who are listening tonight, anticipate watching the game at 9:40. It'll be interesting to see what they say on the broadcast in the early part of that game. But as you look at the Red Sox, to me, the real question is this. Today's July 28th. The trading deadline is now 6 days away. 29, 30, 31, and then 1, 2, 3. It's August 3rd. And Jimmy, is it in the afternoon on August 3rd? They usually put it in the middle of the afternoon now.
I believe it's either 3 or 6 o'clock.
Okay, so you're going to have it in that window. So basically, we're literally talking 6 days from this very moment. But, from now to then is the deadline.
Monday, August 3rd at 6 p.m.
So now the question is, what do the Red Sox do? Do they try to compensate for the loss of Curtis Mead? Or do they just bite the bullet on that one and chalk it up to bad luck and just continue with what the rest of their plan was? There's been a lot of speculation of late that they are going to add a shortstop and that is part of the reason why that they sent Sung-Shae Cheng down to AAA. He's their best defender. And Buster Olney has now tweeted that Otto Lopez with the Marlins is one of the guys they are considering. Right-handed hitting shortstop, is having easily the best year of his career. Batting over .330, leads the league in batting average, doesn't strike out a whole ton, has a little bit of power, and has really turned into, quite a player. Jimmy, I'm going to see whether or not I can find the defensive metrics on Otto Lopez as well here. So I'll try to do.
But Tony has been DFA'd 3 times already, so He has to suck. He has to found it.
So maybe, who knows? He's eligible for arbitration, convenient time to become a good player. But in terms of, if we're talking about, defensive runs saved, Otto Lopez is 5th. He is a plus defender based on the modern metrics. In outs above average, he is 8th in the major leagues among regular shortstops, so that makes him an above average defender. And if you want to go with traditional metrics, let me see. He's made a crap ton of errors. He's got 15 errors, which is the second most in the game. But we all know that in modern metrics, errors don't count. Now, I disagree with that, but whatever. You get the idea.
He's well balanced, though. 8 of those are throwing errors, and 7 of them are fielding errors.
Okay, so the throwing errors bug the crap out of me. Like, you can't throw to first base. So, let's see how that all looks. I'm sure he has got great range. That's probably why the metrics reflect well on him. But all kinds of moving pieces now for the Red Sox here as we enter the final week until the trade deadline. Again, they are 23-4 in their last 27 games. And the news of the day, Curtis Mead, acquired just 2 days ago in a trade with the Washington Nationals, placed on the injured list with what appears to be a broken wrist or hand that was missed last night despite x-rays at the ballpark. Chad Tracy, I presume, will be answering all kinds of questions about why the injury was missed, what it means for the team. Craig Breslow, I'm sure, is going to have to answer questions at some point about whether this alters the plan at the trade deadline and the Red Sox actions as they approach August 3rd, the date of the trading deadline, now in question. And we'll see how the Red Sox respond to the loss of Curtis Mead, again, who they literally acquired like 48 hours ago, and is now, after 8 pitches, 2 plate appearances, appears to be lost to the Red Sox for the balance of the season, but no official word on that yet. Joe Murray will have all the updates for you here as the night goes on. Kevin Majori will get you caught up on the latest headlines momentarily. We'll catch you tomorrow.
The 99 Restaurant is once again supporting Dana-Farber Cancer Institute and the Jimmy Fund. Visit your local 99